Welcome everyone to our NETPA virtual meeting on Friday, June 17th, 2022. My name is Jose Rojas. I am the president and treasurer of NETPA, and I'd like to welcome you all to our employer panel today. Before we get started, I want to do brief introductions to our board of NETPA. Again, my name is Jose Rojas, president and treasurer of NETPA. I am currently employed with Mercy Care as a senior project manager with employment and rehabilitation. I believe in helping everyone find their passion. I'm very passionate about connecting to careers and meaningful activity. So I love what I do, and I am very proud to be a member of NETPA. We also have Leah Hill, who is our vice president. Leah has a master's degree in project management and maintains certifications in, I'm sorry, my screen just went blank. And she spent the last, there we go. And she's certified workforce development professional and 3 coaching certifications. After work, she enjoys hiking, biking, and spending time with her family and friends, traveling, cooking, and building her career coaching and HR consulting practice. We also have Sherry Zawinski, who is on the call today. She is our secretary of NETPA. She has earned her bachelor's degree at the University of Nebraska at Omaha. She spent the last 13 years in workforce development, bringing businesses and job seekers together, working with TANF and the WIOA contractors, as well as other grant programs. Currently, she is with Hamilton Riker Talent Grow as an intermediary sponsor for the registered apprenticeship programs as a grant manager. In her spare time, she enjoys exploring new restaurants, sightseeing, and spending time with her family and her dog. We also have our social media specialist, Winslow Zhang. Winslow moved to the United States in 2010, where he attended the University of Iowa and got his bachelor's degree in psychology. Upon graduation, he worked for a nonprofit organization assisting individuals with disabilities in obtaining employment. He is currently an HR recruiter with Arizona State, and he also recently got his MBA in Strategic Human Resource Management and his SHRM certification. Personally, Winslow enjoys exploring the Phoenix food scene and trying out different restaurants. He also likes to try out recipes he finds online. So a little bit about NETPA, just our core values and beliefs. We believe in connecting the underserved to the right employers. And what we mean by that is we work with individuals that might have barriers or challenges, whether that be a language barrier, whether that be maybe an incarceration history, whatever that may be, we help them connect them to employment. We believe in growing our community. So we're always looking to expand our network of community partners and members. And we believe in doing what's unconventional. During the start of this pandemic, we really had to circle in all the wagons and figure out how we can continue to provide this great resource during a pandemic. And hence, this is how we became virtual. If you're interested in joining NETPA, it's a nominal fee of $25 per individual. If you're an organization that's interested in joining NETPA, it's $75 and allows up to 5 employees to join our meetings. Also, as an organization that joins NETPA, you will have an opportunity to be on our employer panels. We have about 4 a year or more. So it's a great opportunity to recruit and also post your job fairs and everything on our calendar on our website as well. Well, today we are delighted to welcome these great employers. We have the Hartford with us, Hyatt Hotels and Resorts, Print Pack, and Scottsdale Community College. So I'm going to stop sharing so we can begin. Welcome, welcome, welcome all. All right. So what we're going to do for anyone that's attending the call, we're just going to do an informal roundtable just to discuss your organizations and things of that nature. So we're going to start with the Maricopa Community College District, and we're going to start with Ms. Tapson. Ms. Tapson, tell us a little bit about your organization and current positions that you're seeking.
Sure. I have worked for Maricopa Community College District. Currently, I'm working at Scottsdale Community College for the last 23 years, going almost 24. So I was just a baby when I started. Uh, but we are a system that is made up of 10 different colleges throughout the county. And so I primarily right now I'm working at Scottsdale Community College, but I think I'm going to talk a little bit more in general terms of some of the things that we're looking for. We are looked at as a learning organization. We have a lot of opportunities for employment, as well as opportunities for people that already work there, such as myself. And I'm a prime example of that because I've taken advantage of some of the different programs that we have available within our college district. But if you're not aware, Maricopa Community College District is made up of Chandler Gilbert Community College, Estrella Mountain Community College, Gateway Community College, Glendale Community College, Mesa Community College, Paradise Valley Community College, Phoenix College, Rio Salado College, Scottsdale, where I'm at now, and South Mountain Community College. And a lot of the colleges actually have their own sub-colleges within the particular college. For example, Gateway, we have the Southwest Skills Center, we have the Center for Entrepreneurial, I can't never say that word, innovation. We have the Central City Buckeye location. And then I was looking at our website last night and I learned that we have something called Phoenix Forge. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of exciting. And so I have to learn a little bit more about that, but it seems like a really cool program for people that want to learn like woodworking or jewelry making and those types of things. So you can always access our website at maricopa.edu to be able to get that information. A lot of the positions that we have open, I know at Scottsdale Community College, as well as some of our other colleges, some of the positions that we have open right now that we're having trouble filling are things like what we consider our crafts professions, which is like our HVAC specialists, our groundskeepers. We are having trouble with our web people. So we have like an office assistant right now, part-time in our counseling department, somebody working in our writing center, kind of like as a tutor. That's a part-time position, but we also have like network and system specialists. We also have a plumber position that just came open within our particular college, and I think at one of our other colleges as well. Like I said, HVAC, we've had that position as well as a couple of the other colleges, and we're struggling to fill those positions. A web software developer and our groundskeeper. Unfortunately, I think what holds some people back is that we have a requirement for some of these positions, even the groundskeeper, where they have to have a high school diploma or GED. And so I would, encourage those that don't have a high school diploma or GED to take advantage of attending one of our colleges. They offer the GED program. I know at Rio Salado College, and I think out of a couple of our other colleges. But those are some of the things that the positions that we have open, as well as a variety of positions in our student services area, as office workers, in our administrative type of work. If you go on our website at maricopa.edu at the very bottom, and can I share my screen?
Sure. Give me
Okay.
1 second. I think I have to give you that permission.
Yeah, because I know sometimes people have a difficult time like maneuvering.
Okay. You're the host. Share away.
Oh, great. Thank you. Maneuvering our system. And so this is our main webpage of maricopa.edu. And if you want to know anything about our colleges, you can go here and click on any one of our colleges. But if you're looking for careers, I would go way down to the bottom. And down here in the middle we have a link called careers. And this is where you can view our job listings. It talks about some of our perks that we have in our organization. We're very fortunate that we have 18 paid holidays that we can take advantage of. And that doesn't even include our spring break and our what we call a I guess now they're calling it like a mid-semester break, but it's kind of our holiday break. We get a whole week off between the holidays. And so we get a variety of days off, but we have part-time opportunities. We have opportunities for internal applicants and you would click here on the external applicants to find the type of positions that you're looking for. And it has a whole listing of the different types of jobs that we have available right now. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Because I can't see the questions right now, but I'll stop sharing.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing in the chat right now, but we'll continue to give folks an opportunity to ask questions as we ask more questions of you.
Okay, and now I'm trying to figure out how to the sharing.
Go to the top and just hit stop sharing.
It says stop video.
No, that's going to turn off your camera.
It says new show. Oh, there it is. Okay, Dee Dee just has
Perfect.
to read.
Perfect.
But
All
that's probably the best way to find the different types of positions that we have available. We're a great organization to work for. I never realized that I'd be there for 23 years. And part of the reason is because as employees, we get the opportunity to participate in a variety of different programs. One of the programs that I was responsible for when I was working at our district office was what we call our Creative Pathways programs, where our employees have an opportunity to go work an internal internship within our organization for up to 6 months. And they can leave their jobs and go try something new for up to 6 months. And that's really something that I took advantage of long ago. And that has gotten me to where I'm at today. We also have an internal apprenticeship program for our employees. So our apprenticeships are for painters, plumbers, HVAC, carpenters, and electricians. And so we have our own internal apprenticeship program where if you've worked for the district for a year and are over 18 years of age, you could apply for that program. And then we pay for everything. We pay for your schooling. We pay for you to do it during your work time, and so you're a journey person during that time. And then once you graduate, and we work with the state in regards to this so that we're meeting those requirements, you can go out into and then we place you at one of our colleges so that you can actually do that job at one of our colleges. And we get $4,000 a year for professional growth development so that we can attend conferences and workshops. And trying to think of what else we have. Our benefits are fantastic. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Dee Dee. You're putting the cart a little bit before the horse because we're going to get to those questions.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you to scale it back just a little bit, and I'll go to Heather from Hyatt to just tell us about your organization and some of the positions you're seeking. Everybody's going to get a chance to talk about benefits and those other things. Go ahead, Heather.
Oh, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Heather. I'm the Human Resources Director here at the downtown property in Phoenix. I am filling in today for Angie, but we have positions all across the valley in multiple areas. Usually right now we have culinary, food and beverage, front office, housekeeping, and then at our resort properties, we have recreation positions open. As you know, summer's coming, so pool attendants and things like that. But those are typically the positions that you'll find at all 5 of our properties that Angie represents.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's go to Cindy from the Hartford. Why don't you tell us about your organization and the positions that you're seeking?
Sure thing, Jose. So Cindy Angeline with the Hartford, and with the Hartford, we're actually an insurance financial industry organization. Some of the positions that we have, I'm going to talk a little bit later, I hope, on apprenticeship programs that we have that goes across the United States. But we also have programs, our entry-level positions are always available, and we have hiring classes 4 times a year in our call center operations, which require, the minimum requirements are a high school diploma or GED. and then go up from there. And then, of course, with experience, any type of insurance or financial service experience, we always have several positions that are available. A lot of our programs are remote work. Over 60% of our employees are remote workers.
Awesome. Thanks so much,
Uh-huh.
Cindy. And last but definitely not least, we have Jane from Print Pack. Good morning and happy Friday. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your organization and the positions you're seeking?
Thank you. Good morning to everyone as well. I'm Jane Denton from Print Pack. When I talk to people and I ask them if they know anything about Print Pack, I always get the resounding, no, never heard of you. So I'll tell you what we do. Print Pack makes packaging for major food retailers retailers that typically if you're grocery shopping or you're buying something in the store, chances are we made the packaging for it. So that's it in a nutshell. We make packaging for food and medical items. Print Pack has 3,200 team members in 17 states and in Mexico. We were established in 1956 in Georgia and have expanded since then. We've never had a layoff, even through the pandemic. Not one person was ever laid off. We just found other things for them to do. Excuse me. We don't have any plants in Phoenix or the surrounding areas. We're up here in Prescott in Arizona. I actually do the recruiting for Arizona, Virginia, 2 plants in Virginia and 1 plant here in Arizona. So we get a lot of individuals that want to move here and they don't know where to go to look for work. And that's why I want to get the word out. Print Pack is here and they are on-site positions. We do have some corporate positions that are remote. So I guess it just depends on what people are looking for. And that could be in sales, that could be in human resources, IT, anything like that. Most of those positions are remote positions across any of the plants in 17 states. We're actually hiring for, excuse me, we're hiring for material handlers. And I'm going to look over here for a moment because I have my little flyer up. Material handlers, quality specialists, laminator assistants, press operators, and electronics techs. That's just a short list of what we need. Our staffing levels have been hit pretty hard by the pandemic. So, but production is up, so we need to fill those jobs. And so I'm not sure what else I can share with you other than we do have plants in Illinois, Indiana, Tennessee, Texas, North Carolina, Delaware, Virginia, Arizona, and Wisconsin. And our corporate office is in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's where most of the telecommuting work comes from. The higher level positions come out of that office. And that's why I sit here in Prescott Valley and I work in Virginia and here too. But I absolutely love it. This is a wonderful company that truly, truly cares about their employees and they show it. Yeah, there's all kinds of opportunity for advancement here if you show incentive and that you want to move along and you want to grow with the company. That's truly happening here. One of the biggest things we're seeing here as well is a lot of retirement happening. So people who've been with the plants for over 30 years are now retiring, and there's a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So when we get them, we like to keep them, but when they get to that point and they want to retire, we got to fill those positions. So what else can I share with you? I think that's about it. I was going to go into benefits, but if you want me to save that for later, I can do that.
Yes, yes, we're going to get to that in a little bit. All right. Thank you so much, Jane.
Sure.
All right, let's go with Heather now. And this question is related to the Hyatt culture. Why don't you tell the job seekers and the folks on the call about the Hyatt culture? Why would someone want to come work for Hyatt? What is it like there?
Yeah, I say that people want to come work for Hyatt. Our culture is we care for people so they can be their best. And I've worked for Hyatt for really 15 years now, all across the country. And what keeps me here is the culture, the family orientation that we have. We truly do treat our colleagues as if they're our own family. And, you know, after the layoffs and the eliminations and COVID, that really shone through, and how many of our colleagues we rehired who wanted to come back to this property because of the way that we treat each other and the care that we were able to show them during that time. You know, in 2020, our hotel was actually closed for 9 months. So we weren't even open, and the communication and what we did during that time period to have everyone come back after such a long time is really what we're all about. And I think that's why people want to come and work here and stay here for, you know, years and years and years, and end up retiring after 40, 50 years of service because of the culture that we have.
Thank you so much for that, Heather.
Absolutely.
Cindy, why don't you tell us about the Hartford culture, and why would someone want to work there?
Sure. So the Hartford's culture, and I think we're probably not unlike a lot of the larger corporations, we have a lot of opportunities to have some empowerment. We have a lot of employee resource groups. We take, you know, a lot of responsibility from the perspective of setting up women's groups. We have a professional women's network. We have a Pride network for LGBTQ community. We have a BIPIN for Black insurance professionals, Asian professionals, and as well as a flexible abilities network. So we really try to create opportunities to be able to meet with others, you know, others that have same interests. In addition, for the Hartford, we've been voted most ethical company. Gosh, I can't even tell you how the number of years. I don't want to. It's greater than 7 years in a row that we're a very ethical company. Again, love our culture of being able to have a remote work environment that allows people an opportunity to work both remote as well as go into the office. So creating those opportunities as well.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Now, Jan, we'll go back to you. Tell us about PrintPak's culture. You mentioned that folks have been staying there for 30 years and a lot of folks are retiring. So there seems to be some staff retention stuff going on. So why don't you tell us a little more about that culture?
Absolutely. Well, PrintPak has a set of core values that they are very strict about. And like I said, we deeply care for our associates, our partners, our customers, all of that. And we operate in an environment of respect, where we treat all people with dignity and respect. That includes our staff. We're very open, we're inclusive, we're welcoming and approachable. We are strictly support diversity in our workplace. We're very, 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 very serious about that. What else? We do approach our business challenges with enthusiasm, and we encourage our staff and our employees to challenge the status quo so that everyone is heard and everyone has an opportunity to present a great idea and find out if there's ways that we can run with that and make our services better. And that could be anything, not just our services, but whatever our employees are considering what they want to do or what changes they'd like to see. We consider all things. Of course, we can't move forward with everything, but we do consider all things, and we do give our employees a voice. They have a strong voice in what happens with the organization. Just basically, we encourage and accept change. We experiment with new things. We explore the unknown. We take risks. I mean, these are just things that are important to our staff, because those things give them the opportunity to think about their careers and how they'd like to advance those careers, where they want to go. And there's so many different areas they could go into. So people are allowed to come in at the ground level or higher levels and just build their career as they go with PrintPak in just about every area that could be imaginable in a business. And we're reliable, we are trustworthy, we're accountable, we hold ourselves accountable to our employees and to our customers, but our employees always come first. It's very clear that our employees always come first. Do you want to hear about the benefits now? We'll
get to it. Not quite yet. Not quite yet.
So yes. So we're just a diverse, inclusive environment with opportunity to grow across the United States, wherever you want to be. It's just a wonderful, wonderful company.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jane. Now we'll take it to you, Dee Dee. Tell us about Maricopa Community College's culture. Why would
Okay.
someone want to work there?
Well, like I was saying earlier when I jumped ahead was, that we do have a lot of opportunities within our own organization. I worked in our training department, and that's primarily where I'm housed is our training department. Although right now I'm on loan to Scottsdale. But we have a lot of things that our employees can get involved in. We also have the affinity groups that our employees can get involved with, our Juntos group, our Maricopa Council on Black American Affairs and Asian Island Pacific group, our LGBTQ group, just a gamut of different organizations within the organization. We also have a women's leadership group program within our college district. And so we have a mentor program underneath that. I was also responsible for what we would call our Aspiring Leaders program. It's a program that I helped to develop, or that I actually developed. I shouldn't say I helped, I did it. But it's for people that were not in management that were trying to move ahead, and what were some of the things that they needed to prepare for so that they could move ahead within our organization. As I mentioned, we have an internal internship program, an internal apprenticeship program. We also get $4,000, like I said, a year to be able to go to conferences and workshops and do that type of things, and so that we can network with people within our own, or within the educational system and even outside of the educational system, so that we can find out what's happening out in the world. So we do have a variety of different opportunities for our employees, much more so than I realized when I first started working for Maricopa. And like I said, that's part of the reason that I have been able to grow in my career with Maricopa, is because some of these programs that I took advantage of. I utilized our professional growth program so I could go back to school and get my master's degree. And so when I got my master's degree, I came out graduating from NAU without really owing them any money, because Maricopa primarily paid for that for me. So I was very fortunate that, that we've had those types of things available to us. So I always tell our employees, take advantage of the different programs that we have, get mentors. That's one of the big things that we strive for. I encourage our employees to do informational interviews with our folks, our internal folks, so that they can kind of decide what career path they're going to go towards. And so there's assistance with resume writing and all of that type of stuff for our internal employees. And I'm primarily the one that does that, or was doing that. And I'm not opposed to helping people that are not part of Maricopa in helping them do that as well. So those are some of the things that, it's a great organization because there's a lot of opportunity. And with 10 colleges and the skill centers and such, you have the opportunity to kind of move around to different locations and try different things. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we all know our current situation. We know that gas prices are up, the housing prices are up, inflation's up. So we have what we call a wage compression, where job seekers are having to make conscious decisions in terms of accepting positions that may pay more, which might leave some of us out the door in terms of employees. So let's talk about the benefits. Let's talk about what your organization can offer someone who chooses you, as opposed to maybe another opportunity that may pay a little more, because we know this is the current circumstance, and I'd be remiss if we don't discuss it. So I really want to give you guys an opportunity to talk about room for growth and what that looks like. I'm intrigued to hear more about the apprenticeship opportunities from Cindy and Dee Dee, and any other opportunities that your organization has to help people grow their careers. So let's go ahead and we'll start with Heather, and we'll go from there.
Okay, sure. So we are doing a lot, with mentorship and trying to grow our retention. We have a class or a program called Ladder Climbers, and this is a program that's a 12-week session, and it's for any colleague that would like to participate. And we put them through this class where they rotate amongst all the properties in the valley. So they'll go for a week. They spend 2 hours and they get to meet other colleagues in the area. And we show them and talk to them about just the different, I guess, the different functions within the hotel. So we'll have the GMs will come in and present. Our finance directors will present. We'll have workshops on how to invest in yourself and like how to create individual IGPs, right? What do you want to see yourself? Where do you want to see yourself go? What are the opportunities? That's one of the things that we're working on this year to introduce in the fall. We did it pre-COVID and it was a huge success. Our promotion rate with that was huge. We typically allow about 25 colleagues into the program at a time. And it's definitely been a huge success for us. Hyatt also is very well known for their internal promotions. Just taking a look at myself in particular, I started out as an HR coordinator and am now the director. And that's been over the past 13, 14 years that I've been with Hyatt. But we definitely, stress promoting from within and our leaders working with our teams to ensure that they are getting the exposure and the experience that they need and really supporting them on their journey. So I think those are the two biggest benefits that we have as far as it goes for careers and retaining colleagues.
Heather, you mentioned IDP. Can you explain those acronyms for those who don't know what
Yeah,
that means?
sure. It's an individual development plan. And so really it's just we have a online system called the Talent Hub, and you can go into this system and you can create your individual development plan or IDP. And basically it's for, just as an example for myself, is to go in and put 3 or 4 goals that I want to achieve in the year for the year. And then I sit down with my GM. We have one-on-ones every week, but typically about twice a year to talk about where am I at with my goals? How far have I gotten? What do I need help with? And that really is to help our colleagues get to that next level.
All right, thank you for clarifying that. All right, Cindy, we'll go to you and the Hartford. Tell us about what you can offer employees for growth.
Gotcha. Jose, could I share my screen? Because I just really want to
Yes,
share
absolutely.
a slide that
Let me
kind of talks about apprenticeships.
Dee Dee, can you give me the host role back? I don't believe I have it. You just have to hit those 3 little dots by my name and it should say make the host, maybe. Do you see that? You're muted, Dee Dee. Okay, I got you. I'm the host now. Thanks so much. All right. Cindy, you are now the host.
Gotcha. Thank you. I feel the power, huh? Like, what the heck will I give it back, huh? All right. So can everyone see my really one slide?
Yes,
Fair
the
enough.
apprenticeship slide.
Sure, thank you.
Yes. Okay.
So the Hartford's had an apprenticeship program for the last 5 years, and certainly it's something that takes a place. It shouldn't take the place, I should say, of a traditional employee that's looking for a skill set. But this is one where if you really don't have an insurance background, which most of us, even if we went and got a degree, we didn't get a degree in insurance. So a lot of people, if you're like someone who's wanting to go back to school, maybe you don't have any degree, but you have a high school diploma and you've been working in a different setting, and you want to try to look for a place where you can kind of move up and go forward. An apprenticeship program is one option that you should look at and consider. The apprenticeship program at the Hartford consists of a couple of things. It's, first of all, it's paid. Our starting rate of pay is $18 an hour for our apprentices. It includes benefits from day one. That's medical, dental, as well as paid time off, et cetera. When you graduate from the program, you graduate with federal credentials in the program. It also jumpstarts your career. So you start off in a particular role at the Hartford. That's typically considered an entry level, but from there you can move up. Most of our internal opportunities. They're always given, like if there's a position, our internal candidates are always considered before an external candidate for consideration. So it's a way to easily promote up and into other areas of the organization. In addition, our education, we provide you up to $5,250 every year for your educational expenses. If you're going to community college that we partner with Maricopa Community Colleges. We actually have upfront tuition funding for that amount. You can work towards your degree. Most of our students, most of our apprentices do work towards, they get their associate degree, and then most of them actually continue onward into a 4-year degree. You also are also connected with both a mentor that helps you learn the job as well as a career mentor when you graduate. So the program, again, it's just kind of broken into these segments. A lot of people will confuse an apprenticeship with like an internship. An internship, you might get to learn the role, where an apprenticeship, you're truly doing on-the-job learning while you're taking related training instruction with one of our partner schools. So the program itself, we have hirings that take place 2 or 3 times in the year. Our next hiring program comes up in September. So kind of just continues on.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
All right. Awesome. So let's hear from Jane about opportunities internally for your employees. You're muted, Jane.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
There you go. All right.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, PrintPack is experiencing quite a bit of individuals who are retiring. And with that being said, our positions, when we hire, let's say for a press assistant position, that individual is actually going to be trained to be a press operator and to move their career into that advanced position. And in turn, that person who gets advanced into that position will also train the next press assistant coming in to be a press operator. And each one of our positions, each one of our machines has a management team that manages that division for that machine. And anyone coming in, you don't have to have a lot of experience, but I mean, you have to be willing to learn. So that's how we advance our employees by their interest in certain areas. But one thing that I'm really proud of PrintPack for doing this year is they revamped their benefits and they restructured their benefits so that their out-of-pocket costs are way less than what they used to be. And that's to offset, we have a very competitive salary, but many others in manufacturing do as well. So to offset some of the salary fluctuations going on right now, we've changed our benefits packages. So lower out-of-pocket costs, lower premiums. So the employees end up taking more of their pay home instead of spending it out on high-cost benefits. So that's one thing that we're finding our employees really appreciate. We do also offer tuition assistance. If they want to go to school for whatever it is that you want to go to school for, it doesn't matter if it's in line with the job you're doing right now. It can be something that you want to do in the future. Say you're working in the manufacturing plant and you're running a machine, but you want to get into the business office, go to school for that. And we do provide tuition reimbursement for that as well. I'm not sure what the dollar amount is. It might be the standard. I'm kind of new here. I've been with PrintPack for probably 2.5 months, so I'm still learning all of this. But pretty much that's it. We do offer apprenticeships and we do partner with the community colleges as well. Our managers mentor their staff. So there's a lot of different things going on, mentorships, apprenticeships. We work with our colleges. Our colleges actually send us people that have gone through their certification programs for certain areas. And we'll set them up for interviews, and typically they'll get hired as long as they show a good incentive and they show that they're really, this is the industry they want to be in. The last thing we want to do is hire someone and then have them find out that this isn't really what they wanted, although they thought that's what they wanted. So we have mentorship programs and the apprenticeship programs as well. I think that's it.
All right, well, thanks so much. And now we'll give it to you, Dee Dee. Talk about opportunities for folks.
All righty. So as I mentioned, we do have some of these programs, like the apprenticeship program is actually an internal program that's only available to our employees. And so, but it gives employees an opportunity. They don't have to have any experience in any of being an electrician or a plumber or a carpenter or any of those things. They can come in, they actually prefer that you don't know anything and that you kind of come in so that they can train you the way that they do. And what happens is our apprentices get moved around to different colleges every 6 months for the first 3 years so that they can get a good feel for the different types of individuals that they'll be working with, the different types of tools, and each college is unique. So it teaches them whatever it is that that college has to bring. And they're set up with mentors. They're set up with actually people that have become journey people in their field. And so they're being mentored by those folks. And so at the end of the 3rd year, for their 4th year that they're in the program, they're primarily set up at the college that they're going to wind up being at for however long they want to stay with Maricopa. They do require that they stay here 2 years after they complete the program, because as I said, we pay for their books and we pay for everything. And they come out making a pretty decent salary. I think our HVAC electricians and plumbers are making somewhere around 50 some $1,000s a year when they graduate from that particular program. But we do have other things that we have available for our employees, as far as we have wonderful benefits, medical, dental, vision. We have a big incentive program, well, a big program that's geared towards wellness. And right now, because of the pandemic and I attended the session last month where they were talking about mental health. That's one of the things that we're focusing on, is the mental health of the folks, our employees that are coming back to work. We have been working primarily remotely for the last couple of years, but starting in the fall semester, you're going to see most of the staff back at the offices. And there's some that are going to have the opportunity to still continue to work remotely. But we have, like I said, mentorship programs. I encourage employees to actually go and do informational interviews so that they can find out a little bit about the different areas that they're interested in. And when they do an internal internship program, they find out sometimes, I think it was you that were saying, one of you was saying that they find out that's not really what they wanted to do, or that's not what they thought the job was. But, we're fortunate that we get those 6 months to be able to try to figure that out and go there and see what that particular role is all about. And if that's not something that they wind up liking, then they don't have to pursue that avenue as a career trajectory for themselves. And so we have different people in our college system that actually will coach employees and mentor employees. And so we have, like I said, an internal aspiring leaders program for our employees. We also have things for our managers and our directors to develop themselves as well. So we have a whole Navigate Maricopa series that's geared towards our managers and directors and so on. And we require that they go through those programs so that they can actually find out what it's like, what we expect as an organization for them as supervisors, managers, directors, and such, what we expect from them as they go through their career trajectory. Because we do have folks that do come from the corporate side of the world, but to come into a public space is a little bit different. And so the expectations are different. And so we try to get everybody on board so that they know that we have a governing board, that we have, that guides us. We have our chancellor, that's responsible for the whole entire organization with the 10 colleges. But then each of our colleges is pretty autonomous in the way that they do things. And each of the colleges has sometimes their own different programs built into their systems as well. So that's kind of the cool thing about our college system, is that we have our district-wide programs that I was working with, but then each of the colleges sometimes has their own thing. And they all have like diversity coordinators at the colleges, wellness coordinators at the colleges that work with our district folks. And then each of the colleges also might have like an individual DEIE group that works at the college to promote DEIE work across their organization. So we just have a lot of different things that people can get involved in within our organization. And I think that's one of the things that brought me to Maricopa, was seeing the opportunities and seeing all the different things that I could get involved in as an employee, and take advantage of all the different programs that we have available. So, and like I said, we have wonderful, wonderful benefits, just like everybody else, as far as medical, dental, vision, all of that type of stuff. So.
All right, well, thank you so much, Dee Dee. So the next question is a two-parter, okay? A lot of our job seekers have given us feedback that sometimes they don't hear back from employers when they apply for positions. So I want you to describe, to the best of your ability, the process of hiring. If you can give how long the process takes from application to interview, what that looks like for our job seekers, that would be very helpful. And then the second part of that is talk about individuals with challenges. Let's say folks that may have been incarcerated, or for example, what's your organization's stance on that? Do you work with those individuals, etc.? And for this one, I'll take a volunteer of who would like to go first, because this is a hefty question. It's a two-parter. Anyone? Anyone? All right, Jane, you're up. Thanks so much.
Let me unmute. Okay, so the hiring process at PrintPack it's pretty simple. We don't have a lot of red tape involved with that, so we can pretty much move as quickly as we want to at each location. Here in Prescott Valley, and I'll speak to Prescott Valley specifically since it's Arizona based, I have been able to source, phone screen, and get an interview on the same day at the location, at the plant, and get them hired in one day. Yeah, so it differs. It depends on the position and the timeline for hiring. But basically, what I'm finding is that as soon as I find great people, we can get them scheduled and interviewed on their time. Because I always like to ask my candidates when it's convenient for them. Although we do have to also balance the business needs with that as well. We typically get them in for the actual, that's probably about on an average a week from the phone screen to the actual face-to-face interview with the hiring managers. Now we do hire out-of-state people sometimes that are moving here and they're looking for a place to work. That interview might take a little longer because there's a lot of different decisions being made on timelines for move and things like that. But typically it's about a week from screening to actually interviewing with the hiring managers. And like I said, PrintPack is very diverse. We have found great success in hiring formerly incarcerated individuals. We find that they are likely more motivated to do a great job and to improve their lives through their career path. So they know that we will help them with that. So, I mean, the only thing that we cannot do is we have a policy that if someone was incarcerated for a violent crime, that needs to be closely looked at under various situations. I mean, we've got to really look closely, but violent crimes are sometimes a no-go, depending on what the situation is. So that's pretty much it. And we do we are a diverse pool of people. So we do hire from every different organization that you can imagine that's out there. People with disabilities, or I like to call them people with abilities. So because they really do have great abilities. I don't know, but just, yeah, very diverse. Maybe a week. It could take a day for hiring to get a job. You go through your background check, your drug screen, and we're really serious about the background and the drug screen because we are highly motivated towards employee safety in our plants. So, I mean, our plants have all won awards for employee safety. So we do the background checks and the drug screens diligently. And that's about it.
Okay, so just so I can recap. So once an individual applies, you'll reach out for a phone screen and then maybe set up a face-to-face. That could take up to a week, depending on schedule of the individual. And then anybody with a challenging background is able to apply. But if it's a violent background, that you may take a longer look at that in terms of your decision making. And a big part of being brought on to PrintPack is also that drug screen and background check because of plant safety. Did I miss anything?
No, you've got it.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much for that. And let's go to you, Heather. Why don't you fill us in what the process is like and working with folks within challenging backgrounds?
Sure. So we have an area recruiter and an area recruiter coordinator. So we have two in the Valley that oversee all 5 of our properties. They are continuously screening candidates. So they go into our system, they look for our applicants, and they reach out immediately. So once they reach out to the candidate, they get that over to our leaders, and then we follow up with them to have them schedule their interview and get them in. I'm a very big proponent of only having someone either come in once or on the phone so that we don't waste their time and they're not coming back multiple times to the city to interview for positions. We eliminated, we no longer do drug screening, and we no longer do employment references. And with that, that speeds the time for them to fill, basically. So from start to finish, you could have someone that starts within 3 days, depends on, we do a background check. So it just depends on how long that takes. I've had some come back in 1 day, and I've had some that take multiple weeks. Typically, the ones that take multiple weeks are the ones that do have something pending on their background or have had prior, things. We check that. And so we go back 7 years as our Hyatt policy. But now it's more so, okay, well, tell me more about that situation, what happened, and then it will depend on the position or role that they're in. And so really it's a case by case basis, especially just for those positions. And yeah, if there is something that comes back on their background that is more serious, then we take a deeper look into it and potentially may not hire that person. But we really have seen an improvement on the time it takes by just eliminating the reference checks and the drug screen. We do, of course, drug screens for, accidents and things like that, but to get hired, we don't require that. And then there was one other note I had, I think that was it, but we've also just really focused on our leaders just making more of an effort and not waiting on calling someone back just because of the market right now, and everyone is looking and they're going to go to someone who's going to obviously reach out to them first. So we're trying to be a lot quicker on that. We have what we call walk-in Wednesdays. So anyone could come in off the street, interview with the leader, and we offer them on the spot. So there is nothing where they leave knowing that they have a job here at the Hyatt, and we get them in to do, and they do not have to go through orientation either before they start. So we get them in quickly. I would say probably most on average is less than a week before from start to finish.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that information. All right, Cindy with the Hartford, why don't you tell us a little bit about your hiring process and your organization's ability to work with folks with challenging backgrounds?
Sure, Jose. So for the apprenticeship program, I can tell you with the apprenticeship program, if you do apply for the role, you are interviewed for the role. So if somebody does go through that process, we like I said, we take opportunities to interview all of our candidates that we're getting. And then I'm just going to say in general, you know, for us being a larger organization, when we're looking at certainly applications that come in, we sometimes get them by the thousands. So, you know, so some of the things that, you know, how am I going to get picked up if I've got a large company that gets that high volume? For me, the best, some tips that I would offer is really looking at that, the actual job information that you're looking for. There's keywords that come up on it all the time, and make sure your resume matches some of those keywords and some of those key competencies that they're looking for. Just in a general tip, if you don't have that, then because we don't manually, it's not like we're manually going through all the resumes, you know, picking up the next 1,000. We utilize computer systems to pull out people, you know, the resumes that have the key competencies. And if you don't have that and you don't make those adjustments to your resume, then your likelihood of getting pulled are going to be a lot more difficult. As far as it goes with types of people that we look for, I mean, last week, we just hired 2 candidates that were completely deaf. So as far as it goes with barriers to employment, we tried to overcome some of those barriers. When you're talking about incarceration, we are a financial institution. And so just like the others on the call, we do have a pretty rigorous background because we're dealing with personal identifiable information. So it's probably a little more difficult for us in the financial industry to get through that. But I'm not saying it's never happened. I think it would be a little bit more difficult though.
Well, thank you for that, Cindy. And thank you
Sure.
for that great tip. So for all the job seekers that are here today and those who may be watching us online once we post this video, just remember when you're applying or tailoring your resume for a specific job you're applying to, look for those keywords, get them on your resume because we have employers that get high volumes of resumes and they don't have the time or opportunity to view each one. So they typically get them scanned through a computer program that's going to look for those keywords and matches. So you want to be able to tailor your resume to fit that job. So thank you so much for that, Cindy.
Sure.
So let's go to you, Dee Dee.
All
Talk to us
righty.
about your process.
Well, I wish it was like a one-day process, but it's not. If you've ever worked for any public entity, you know that there's a whole process involved. So when people apply for our positions, we do have people that do screen the applicants. And I cannot reiterate, like Cindy, how important it is to read the job posting. One of the things that we always ask for is to list on your resume whether you worked in that position full-time or part-time, what dates of employment, and we mean by the month and the year, not just the years. And lots of our positions require cover letters. And so I find that when I'm looking at some of the people that have applied, they have not done some of these things. We're not going to screen them out because of that, but it just makes it a little bit more challenging for us if we do go to hire you to actually do salary placements and those types of things with you. But primarily, our applicants will apply for a position. They get screened by a committee. They get interviewed, and we always have panel interviews for our applicants. And there's usually, on the average, anywhere from 3 to 5 people on a panel. We ask the questions round robin style, so everybody kind of takes a turn, and everybody gets asked the same question for every single interview for that particular job that they've applied for. So there's no differences. If you make it through that first part of that panel interview, then you'll be invited to a second interview, and our leadership likes to meet the folks that are going to be working underneath them. So we usually have a dean, or sometimes, depending on the level, sometimes it could be the president of the college that will be part of those interviews. But we usually have people in higher level positions that are part of that second interview process. And those are a little bit more informal. And then we do actually have a company that does our background screening for us. And so we go through them to do our verification of employment. If it's a position that requires that a transcript, then we will ask for you to send those directly, have the college send those directly to us. It just makes the process a little bit quicker. And So that's primarily what our hiring process is like, is our applicants get screened by several, they might get screened by me initially, or somebody like me and at one of the colleges. Each college has their own HR department. So each of us kind of does things the same, but a little bit different. And so we also, like I say, but everybody does the panel interviews, everybody does a second interview, and then you get brought on board. And so that's primarily our hiring process. It takes a little bit longer than a week or a day, I should say. And we do try to get back in contact with our applicants. That's part of the reason I'm at Scottsdale, is we're working actually on our processes to make it a little bit more refined, and so that we are getting back to folks in a more timely manner, because it can take up to a couple of months before somebody actually gets brought on board. And so, we ask you to be patient with us when you do apply for a position with us, because sometimes you may not hear from us right away, because of the different steps in the process that we have to take as a public institution when we go to hire folks and bring them on board. So that's it.
I was muted, huh? All right, well, thank you for that, Dee Dee. Dee Dee, a quick question for you regarding the panel interviews. In my past, I worked for Maricopa County, and I was part of a panel interview, and it could be quite daunting for someone who's not familiar with that process. So if you could just give a couple of tips around what might benefit someone who's sitting through a panel interview. The one I particularly sat on, it was a group of us job seekers, maybe. Actually, yes, it was a room full of us job seekers sitting in a round table with maybe 4 folks from Maricopa County asking us all various questions. Any tips that you could provide to our job seekers around how to handle panel interviews?
Well, our panel interview is that we have maybe 3 or 4 people from the college that are sitting at a table. And then it's you, the applicant. So there's not any other applicants in the room.
Okay.
Yeah, that I went through that when I got hired on at America West Airline, and that was what we called a group interview. And there was a room of about 150 of us in that room, and there was a panel up top that was asking those questions. But for our panel interviews, you would come in. We've been doing a lot of them virtually in this type of format. So just make sure that your camera is, located in a place that's appropriate for you, that there's no noise in the background. I have cats, and I know my cats, thank God, they've been quiet right now and haven't been jumping in my lap. But whenever usually I'm in a call like this, I'll put them outside. Be honest. But I always tell people, especially if you're doing these in person and it's a panel interview and you're going in person, I always tell people, go in there, make eye contact with everybody. If you have an opportunity to shake hands, shake hands. If not, just make sure that you're saying hello to everybody, that you're sitting up straight in the chair, that you're making eye contact with the folks. So for example, Cindy could be sitting over here to my right, and she could be asking me a question. So I don't want to just direct my answer to her. I would be looking at the whole entire panel and making sure that I'm making eye contact. Now, when there's a panel interview, most of the time people are writing, so they're not even looking at you. So that can be a little disconcerting for people, because they're like, oh, they're not paying attention to me, they're just writing or whatever. But they're taking notes. And so be cognizant of that they may not be looking at you, but there's always that one person that's going to look up. So, if you're looking at the whole entire table, people sitting around the table, then you're apt to make that eye contact with them. And make sure you're not fidgeting around a lot. Also, I always tell people, be careful, like if you have a pen, and some people have a tendency to be doing this or be fidgeting with something, don't do that when you're sitting in your interview. Make sure you don't have your phone. If you have a cell phone, make sure it's on mute or it's turned off. I will leave mine out, so that I don't bring it in with me in case I forget to turn it off. So those are some of the key things that I always tell people when you're sitting in on a panel interview. For a group interview, as you were talking about, Jose, those are very daunting because you know who your competition is, and you hear how they're answering the questions. And so I always tell people to make sure that you are focused on you and what it is that you need to say. Don't worry about what others are saying. And it is nerve-wracking. And I always tell people, the panelist and everybody knows that you're nervous. So they give you a little bit of that because everybody gets nervous during interviews. And even though I've taught interviewing skills to our employees, I get nervous doing interviews. And so I always tell people, just be aware of what it is that you want to answer, but also be aware that when you go into an interview, they're not just interviewing them, you're interviewing them. And you get a feel for what that culture is like, what that department may be like, just by the vibe in the room. And so I always tell people, they're just not interviewing you, you're also interviewing that organization to see if you want to actually work there. And those are some of the tips that I always offer when I'm talking about interviewing, and be happy to help anybody if they have questions.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that insight. So we're heading towards the finish line here, and I just want to give each organization a chance to give our job seekers some last minute insight into again why they should, one, where they can find your job postings. If you put your contact information in the chat or your link to your career page on your chat, that would be great. Just make sure that you put to everyone so that it pops up. And just give everybody a chance to say one last statement before we wrap this up. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with Cindy from the Hartford.
Oh, gotcha. Here, multitasking. I was already starting to type in the information. Anyway, I'll send that afterwards. For us, the website's just at thehartford.com that you can look at career opportunities. So feel free to look at that. If you're looking for an opportunity to try to find an area that you can kind of start fresh, start with a new career, their apprenticeship program is really something that you should consider. I love it because it's remote work, so you can work anywhere while we're training you and working with your educational requirements. And I'll pop the link in here just in a minute.
Thank you so much for that, Cindy. Jane.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, am I muted? No?
No,
Okay.
no, you're good. You're good.
All right. I put our flyer in the chat. I hope everyone got that. Is that okay to put a flyer in there?
Yes, I saw that. Thank you for that.
Perfect. There's a list of positions that it's just a small list of what we're hiring for right now. And then also a link to our career site. So if anyone's interested, go in and look at all the positions we have, no matter where they are, because chances are you're going to find some remote jobs as well. And nothing better than a remote job. But our plants do require in-person work. Of course, we need people on site. So I'm sorry, is that all you wanted, was to the link? Or?
Yeah, just the last minute information. Do you have any last minute words you want to say about your organization and why someone should consider PrintPack?
I have to tell you, PrintPack is absolutely wonderful. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I've had probably a good 30-year career in recruiting and staffing and talent acquisition, project management, and this is the best. This place is the best. The people are great. There's a lot of camaraderie here. It's a family-oriented business. It's a big corporation with a small family feel. So it's really great in that respect. The benefits are wonderful. I don't know what else I can say. We have different shifts. First shift, regular hours. Second shift is 3 to 7, and then third shift is overnight shift. So we have different shifts to support various schedules. We hire a lot of people that are going to school because they want to work the night shift because they want to go to school during the day. When they get that degree, they might switch over to a different shift or whatnot. It's all like tailored to your life and the work-life balance that everyone is seeking. So we do have that. Again, I want to reiterate, and I've done a lot of research in this area in the manufacturing realm, I should say. There's been a lot of layoffs in different capacities, salaries that are advertised not actually being what they are when you go in for the interview. It changes somewhat to a certain degree, and that's coming from people I've interviewed. PrintPack does not do that. We post a salary or a salary range for our positions, and we mean it. So whatever salary is on that job requisition, you can guarantee you're going to fall into the beginning, middle, or the top part of that salary range. We promote from within. We've never had a layoff, not once, not ever, since 1956. So yeah, PrintPack's a great company. You want to work here.
Thanks so much for that, Jane. And we'll go to Dee Dee. Any last statement you want to make about Maricopa Community College?
Sure. I always tell people we cannot spell community without you and I in the middle. That's always been my thing, is that you know, that we can't do it without, you know, the folks that we bring on board and without the people that we work for in our community and within our internal community as well. I've put our links to our webpage so that you can go in there and find the different types of positions that we have open. A lot of times people think that the only thing we're hiring for is faculty. Teaching positions, and we have a gamut of different types of positions. I would encourage people that are interested in working for our organization. I used to go to career fairs, and our students never thought of us as an employer. And I always said, gosh, you know, we have tuition waivers, you know, so you can attend any of our colleges and take classes for free, virtually for free. And, you know, so you can get an AA for virtually, you know, little amount of money because we only charge like a $15 fee to attend any of our classes. But I've always said you can't spell it without you and I in the middle. We have career centers at some of our colleges that people can go and actually complete their applications there. I know here at Scottsdale, we actually have in our HR office computers where we would welcome people that want to go in there and apply for a position to go in there and utilize our computers for that as well. So, and if you know anybody that's looking for, you know, that's looking for an HVAC job or a plumber position or a groundskeeper position, especially, those are the positions that we're really struggling and filling. So thank you very much for having me today. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And last but definitely not least, let's hear from Heather from the Hyatt.
Yeah, of course. You know, I just want to say that, you know, speaking about me personally, I never knew that hospitality could be a career. I started out in 2007 out of college and didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And here I am almost 15 years later. And I just wanted to share that. I think if you are open and willing and you want to learn and grow, that Hyatt is a great company for you. We have so many opportunities. And yes, you might start out as a room attendant or a front office agent or in culinary maybe. That doesn't mean that you have to have that as your career. We have a lot of colleagues that start out, you know, my GM was a bellman when he started. So, and now he's the GM of the hotel. So I think that's what I like to share with everyone is that we have so many opportunities. And, you know, if you want to travel the world, which I have been lucky enough to do with Hyatt, that's one of our biggest benefits that we have. But I started out in St. Louis, went to Nevada, I went to DC, now I'm in Phoenix, all with hospitality and with Hyatt. So I just wanted to share that. I did add our site address and then a flyer there too of all the amazing benefits that we have to offer. And I think that's why I love Hyatt so much. And, you know, there is a great career path with hospitality.
No, thank you so much. Now I'm going to share my screen again just to bring us home and wrap us up. Give me 1 second. All right. Again, I want to thank the Hartford Hyatt PrintPack Maricopa Community College District, for joining us today. And I want to just share a couple of resources for job seekers and employers. So of course, there's Arizona at Work that offers a plethora of resources for both job seekers and employers, as well as the AZ Job Connection. If you're a job seeker and you want to get a weekly job blast from Arizona at Work, all you have to do is text AZ at Work to 22828. They're going to ask you for your email information and you'll be getting a job blast sent to you on a weekly basis. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's happening at our next meeting in July. We are super excited. We will have Michael Tripp from the Maricopa, from Mercy Care Workforce Development, going to give a virtual presentation on opportunities for 2 trainings. One is called Mental Health First Aid, and the other one is called Safe Talk. So for our community partners and our job seekers that are on the call and those who are going to see this once we post it, if you're interested in getting your staff trained around mental health first aid, which is a great tool to have in your toolbox, given that we're all coming out of a pandemic, we're all starting to get outside again. And during that time, it was very difficult for individuals. So mental health first aid is going to give you the tools to triage someone that might be experiencing a mental health issue so they can get to a higher level of care. And that is a great tool to have as an employee and also just in general. And then Safe Talk is the second layer of that. So if someone is having potentially thoughts about hurting themselves or others, Safe Talk will give you the tools to help them in those situations too. So Michael Tripp and possibly Heather Brown will give a quick overview of those training opportunities. And if you're interested, we can arrange for Mercy Care to host a training on those 2 topics. So that's what's coming in July. And with that, I want to wish you all a great weekend and thank you all for joining us today. It was wonderful hearing about your organizations. And thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time, and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, you too.